Hello, I'm Terry and this is Blade Whisperer. So today we're going to look at a couple of budget sharpening solutions, both from the same company, Kitanis. I did pick these up off Amazon. First thing we're going to look at is a set of 5 diamond plates. We start with a 400 grit and progress to 600, 800, 1000, and 1200. Just first impression, they are a very thin plate, so we're going to have to get a sharpening base. They do have a rubber backing, but we're definitely going to have to put a sharpening base on that before we can use those. The second set, now those come in at $17.99 right now on Amazon. The next set, also from Kitanis, is in a trihone configuration. So you've got a base, you've got a trihone. We've got a 400 grit diamond plate, a 1000 grit diamond plate, and a 6000 grit ceramic whetstone. Again, the plates are really thin, so if you were going to do a lot of sharpening, just from looking at it first, this may not be your answer. But if you're someone who just wants to try freehand sharpening for the first time and you don't want to put a whole lot of money into it, this could be a possibility. But we're going to take a closer look at them now. This one comes in at $25.99 on Amazon right now, and I will put links to both of them in the description so that if you want to check them out for yourself, then you can do that. But now let's take a look at them under the microscope and see what those diamond patterns look like. Okay, so I've got the 400 grit diamond plate under the microscope right now, and as you can see, it looks like you've got a really uniform set of diamonds. That looks pretty good to me as far as the size of the diamonds, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. Now I'm going to take the 400 out. Let's see what the 600 looks like as I slide it underneath there. 600 again is going to be fairly coarse. There may be some odd sizes in there on that one. But doesn't look like a whole lot of gaps. Let's see what the 800 looks like. As we get up into the finer stones, that's where things get to be more of a concern, because you don't want to have what is supposed to be an 800 grit stone with a lot of odd sized, larger, grit contamination. And again, this looks like we've got some pretty uniform sizes there. Let's see what the 1000 looks like now as we shuffle it under there. Okay, definitely getting some smaller diamond sizes, very noticeable here. But what we want to look for as I move from one part of the stone to the other, and you do have these honeycomb pattern in this that we're picking up, but as we move from one end of the stone to the other, it looks like these are a really uniform size. I'm not seeing a lot of what you call grit contamination or like a giant piece of diamond mixed in with these. For a stone or a plate as inexpensive as these, to see that kind of apparent quality is really impressive. Now I'm going to put the 1200 in here. And this is where it's really going to be important, because if we're going to use this set, we're probably going to go from the 400, maybe throw it to the 800 and then the 1200. We're not going to use all 5 of them probably, because it's just not necessary. Okay, and you can see the dividing where that honeycomb is. But again, I don't see a lot of grit contamination at all. This looks like a really uniform size. Okay, we've got the Tristone configuration underneath the microscope now, and we've got the 400 grit diamond plate to take a look at. And again, it looks like we've got some pretty uniform diamonds right there. Again, on this 400 grit and the Tristone, it also has the honeycomb pattern, but the grooves in it are not deep enough to where I can see that being a problem. Yeah, let's take a look now at, as I move that out of there, let's take a look at the 1000 grit sign. Now it does not have the honeycomb pattern, it's just a flat diamond. Oh, I don't know. Let me focus in a little bit better there. Okay, it just looks like maybe there's some that need to be knocked off, but again, I don't see any large stones in there that would be what you would say would be a real bad grit contamination. I think our 1000 grit looks pretty good too, especially considering this Tristone configuration, $25.99 right now on Amazon. So let's see how they perform. Okay, we're back at the knife table, and I've got a really good friend that I went to school with, and his dad, I consider him my second father, and he brought me a box of knives. He said, hey, listen, I've got some knives I'd like you to sharpen. And when he said that, I'm like, maybe 3 or 4 of them. No, he brought me 12 of them. So I've got plenty of material here. So I'm just going to pick out 2 of the steak knives. They're nothing fancy, Chicago cutlery steak knife. And we're going to see where we're at. And I've got 2 of them that are identical, so this will be perfect. We're going to see where we're at as far as sharpness as they were brought to me. And as I move them down and push down very slowly, we got a 574 on that one. So that one we're going to set aside, and that's going to be for the Tristone system. And let's go ahead and get the next one out. Put a fresh clip in here. And we're going to go ahead and see what that's going to read at for us. And as we push that one down slowly, and we got a 589. So we're starting out on pretty even footing here. So let me get the stones set up, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll get started and see what we can do with these knives with these new stones. Okay, so I've got the 400 grit diamond plate in my sharpening base. It's, again, the thinness of these is really kind of an issue, because I'm going to have to be really careful as I'm running the knife across that I'm not hitting the edge of the base. This might be something that you'd want to, if this was going to be your set of stones, we may want to get some adhesive and bond them to a thin piece of wood like this, perhaps, like I've done with my strop. That might be the best way, and that may be what I do. If I continue to use these, and I think that's what we'll do. But for now, we've got them in the base, and I've just got to be careful. So I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I've always held the stone in my hand. That's the way I can best maintain a consistent angle, because I'm using both hands to adjust it, and it just is the way that feels right for me. So you're going to have to figure out what works for you. The main thing is that you're able to hold a consistent angle throughout the sharpening process. So the exact measurement of the angle is not nearly as important as making sure it's consistent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in my hand. Make sure if you do this that you keep your thumbs below the level of the stone, obviously. So the first thing we want to do, this, we've inspected this blade. It doesn't have pits, nicks, or chips in it. So we're just going to go ahead and reprofile it, and we're going to try and create a burr. And to do that, the first thing we want to do is pick one side, and I just go in one direction. If it works for you more to lay it down and go back and forth, that's fine. The sharpening police are not going to come to your door if you do it wrong. So you got to find out what works for you. So this is comfortable for me. So I'm going to go and I'm going to proceed to just make slicing cuts in one direction. And usually my process is I'll pick that angle and I'm going to do at least 20 passes. So there's 5. And I'll probably fast forward through this because you're not going to want to see the entire 20 passes, but I want to show you that I'm doing it. So we're at 12, 13. Okay, we got 20 passes, and then I'm going to feel, and you'll be able to feel if there's a bird. We've got one starting to form there. I can feel it there. And maybe we need to, I'm going to give it at least 20 more. And when you're using a rough stone, don't be afraid to put some pressure on it. I mean, you don't have to put all your weight on it, but what you're wanting to do is remove metal and get that burr formed and get that edge properly profiled. Okay, so I can feel that there's a burr starting to form there. It's pretty good there. I may need to do a little, as you feel across, you want to feel the whole surface of the edge. And I can tell that right there at the tip, we may need to do just a little bit more at the tip to get that burr to come across. So I'm just gonna run the tip across another few times. Again, maintaining that angle that I had before. Sometimes, okay. That feels a lot better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go turn it around, start from the other side, get my angle where I feel it's good, and we're going to do 20 passes this way. Okay, there's 20 that way. We should be able to now feel the burr on the other side. And if it's not quite consistent, we can certainly go another, and I'm going to give it another 20 on this side just to, one, even out the number of passes, take the same amount of metal off of each side, and two, that burr, I just don't quite feel it where I want it to be. Okay, that's 20 on that side. And I can definitely feel that that burr has come. We've got it moved over. Again, the tip maybe we want to do just a little bit more on the tip. So we're going to do 10 more. Okay, I just ran 10 more on the tip alone, and I can definitely feel the burr. Now we want to start the process of eliminating the burr. One of the mistakes that people will make too soon is they'll want to move up to the next grit. Your rough stone works the quickest, and honestly, it's best to get most of your work done on that rough stone. So we're going to flip back over to the other side, and we're going to go 10 times. Okay, so we did 10 times going that way. You probably start, you start feeling that burr on the other side. We're just kind of working it. We're starting to minimize the burr. So we're going to go 10 times the other direction now. Okay. And if we looked at it under a microscope, you'd still see the burr. We haven't got that burr gone yet, but we're just kind of working it. We're minimizing it. I'm going to go ahead and do 5 passes now. Okay. I feel that knife. You can tell we're doing work because we're getting black on my fingers. That's 5 in that direction. Now we're gonna run 5 in the other direction. When you should start to feel your knife getting sharp right now. If I stick it on my finger now, moves a little bit there, not so much there. It's sticking right there. That tip is still giving us a little bit of issue. Okay, now we're kind of getting the tip going. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do alternating passes. I've got it to the point where I'm happy where the profile is, and we're going to start doing alternating passes to further minimize that burr. Okay, so basically I did 10 alternating passes. And it's sticking all the way across. I'm going to do 10 more. This says you should always do, like I said, you should always do more work on your rough stone than you do your fine ones. Okay. Okay, that's starting to feel really sharp. We're going to go ahead and switch out now. And like I said, we've got options. We could go 6, but we're gonna skip the 6 and we're gonna go right to the 800. So we're just gonna take the 400 out. We're going to place the 800 in there. Place the 800 in, like so. Tighten it up. And there's no need to try and form a burr again. We've already made our burr. We've, for the most part, gotten rid of our burr. We've minimized it. Running it on this 800, we're just going to continue to, if there's anything left, we're going to continue to minimize it and completely get rid of the burr and just refine that edge. So we're going to go right to alternating passes. That was 10 alternating passes with the 800. You can definitely start to feel the difference now. Let's do one more set. And you don't have to push as hard on that. As you get up into the 800, and especially when we move to the next grit, you don't need to push as hard. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish these. There's another 10 passes on the 800. You can definitely feel the difference. Okay, so we're gonna call it good on the 800, and we're gonna bypass the 1000, and we're pretty much gonna finish this off. Now we're just in the process. We're refining the edge now. So we'll adjust that down. Now we're going to start refining that edge even more. There's 10 passes with the 1200. Definitely starting to be a more refined. We're going to go 10 more. Then we're going to move on this. We could probably move on to the strop now. We could have moved on to the strop after the 800 as far as that goes. But okay. I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. We're going to go ahead and grab my strop right here. We're just going to use the rough side of my strop, and it's got some like 5 micron diamond lapping powder on it. And you'll hear different advice. I tend to keep the same exact angle on the strop as I do on the stone. And we're going to go backwards. And we're just going to strop this thing out a few times. Okay, there you go. If you're really wanting to polish the edge, just like you can with the stone progressions and go to a higher grit stone, I've got the other side of the strop is a finer leather with a finer diamond lapping compound on it, like a 10,000, the equivalent of a 10,000 grit. But we don't really need to do that with this knife. I think we're ready to bring the sharpness tester back out. Okay, we got the sharpness tester back out, and we're going to take this thing and see where we're at now after that work. So we put nice even pressure as always. Looks like we're going to hit a 292. Still, anything 300 or below is new high-end cutlery. Let me put one more clip in and try again. Just and as we start down, we got a 253. So between 253 and 292, I'm happy with that for what it is. Puts a pretty decent steel toothy edge. on this for the steak knives, and I think he'll be happy with them. Okay, now for the next sharpening solution. We've got the Tristone configuration, and we've got our other very dull steak knife. I mean, that's not even peeling the skin off my finger. So we're going to start the same basic progression. This one starts with a 400. And again, I'm going to go back to my style. You could certainly run this on the base like this without a problem. The base is a good height. It does have one useless feature. It has a pull-through sharpener for scissors, but we're not going to deal with that. So anyway, let's move the base out of the way. Let's do it like I do it. And we're going to run 20 passes. I might have gave it 21, but and I can feel the burr pretty much starting to form all the way across. I'm going to go ahead and give it 20 more this way, and then we'll flip it over to the other side. Okay, I can feel the burr all the way across. We're going to go ahead and flip it over to the other side, do the same thing. Okay, there's 20. We're going to give it 20 more. Okay, this one I can feel the burr pretty much all the way up and down the blade. So we're going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to start minimizing that burr. And so we're going to go by 10 passes now in this direction. Okay, that's 10 in that direction. I can feel that the burr has moved over. We go 10 in the other direction. Okay. We're minimizing the burr, moving it back and forth. Now we're going to go 5 in this direction. Five in the other direction. Already starting to feel it. That thing's getting sharp. So now we're going to start alternating passes, and we're just going to do 10 alternating passes. You can feel the blade starting to get sharp. Fingernail, it stops. Let's do 10 more. I think we pretty much got that blade minimized, if not completely gone. But again, we're going to be moving from 400 to 1,000. So if there's more work to be done, we want to do it on the 400 for sure. Let's give it one more round. But I can hear somebody in the audience want to know whether it'll shave. That's on a 400 grit stone. So yeah, it went from 500 to obviously shaving sharp. So I think we can probably safely move on to the next grit. You should be able to get it shaving sharp on your initial stone. But we're ready to move on to the 1,000. So we're going to go right to alternating passes. Okay. And I think with this one we're going to do 10 more. Okay. I think that's all we need to do with that 1,000 grit stone. And since this comes with a, what was I say, 6,000 grit ceramic, we're going to go ahead and use it. I am going to put a little water on that one. As you see my ceramic stones in the background, you'll notice that those are Japanese ceramic whetstones. They are splash and go, but you do need to put a little water on them, and that's what I'm going to do with this. I've just got a spray bottle. It's not like you need to soak it. I do have some soaking stones. If you ever want to see a demonstration, let me know in the comments below. If you want more explanation as far as the difference between soaking and splash and go. But again, all this stone's going to do is refine the edge. It's going to work on the scratch pattern a little bit. And really, if we were going to get rid of that 1,200 or that 1,000 grit scratch pattern, we'd probably want to go to a 2,000, a 3,000. If you want a mirror polished edge, you do more of a gradual grit progression. But we're just going to run this and see if that makes any difference. Okay, there's 10 passes on that. I'll spray it again and give us 10 more. Again, if you're going to use a whetstone, this is probably not the set for you if you're using it a lot, because it is very thin. If you look at, for instance, here is my 12,000 grit Sharpen, and you can see the difference in thickness. That's going to take that one. That's going to last me as long as I last. This, not so much. But you could buy several of these for the price of that one stone. But I think it's worth it. But if you're just, like I said, if you're just starting out and you want to see if you like freehand sharpening to get the hang of it, or then this could be an option, because obviously it works. Okay, I'm going to put that back on its edge there, its stand. Okay, now all we've got left to do with this one is run it on the strop here a few times. And we're just gonna, again, we keep the same angle that we sharpened it in. And we're just gonna run it lightly. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on the strop, especially with this thicker or rougher leather, because you could push that edge down in there and possibly roll your edge over. So we just want to keep the same angle. We're going to run it over a few times. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to get our sharpness tester back out, adjust the camera down a little bit, put a fresh clip in, and see how well the Tristone configuration performed. So we push down slowly. We're at a 225. So a little bit better on that knife. Very respectable. Let's go ahead and try it one more time just to verify our results. And as we push that one down, we got a 249. So between 225 and 249, again, we're well within the range of new high-end cutlery. And there we go. We'll be back to wrap this up in just a little bit. Okay, there you go. We have looked at two really inexpensive sharpening solutions from Kitanis. The 5-stone set, which right now on Amazon is $17.99. And the Tristone configuration, where right now on Amazon is $25.99. And as I said, I will put those links down in the description if you'd like to check them out for yourself. But to wrap everything up, we tested two identical knives. The first one, the one that we ended up using on the Tristone with, tested first at 574. And at the end of our sharpening session, we came in at a 225. The one with the 5-stone set, which we only used 3 of the stones, tested 589, and then at the end of our session came in at 253. So what do we make of that? And I said it more than once during the video that if you're somebody who's just looking to try your hand or learn about freehand sharpening to see if it's for you, then I think either one of these solutions would probably be a good choice. Both of them have uniform diamonds. That's a good plus. The cost obviously is a plus. On the negative side, the regular plates are very thin. They are going to wear out quicker than some of the more expensive stones that you're going to get. So that is a negative. The size is a negative. I prefer to have a larger stone, but I was able to use those without any problem. You will have to have a base if you decide to get the plates, and you wouldn't need that with the Tristone configuration. So I suppose if I was going to choose one of them and I was new to this and just wanted to try my hand at freehand sharpening, I guess I'd go with the Tristone. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see others like it, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the sharp new content. Thanks again for watching. Stay sharp and listen to what the blades are saying.